Good evening and welcome to tonight's Get Connected community meeting hosted by Dallas ISD District 4 trustee Carla Garcia. Tonight we're going to share information about internet connectivity, why connectivity is so important, and what Dallas ISD and our partners across Dallas County are doing to make connectivity available for every family. Please welcome Trustee Carla Garcia for some opening remarks.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Carla García, soy el representante del Distrito 4 aquí en el Distrito Escolar Independiente de Dallas. Es un gusto estar aquí con ustedes y compartir información tan importante para toda la comunidad. Esta conversación será dirigida sobre el tema de conectarse al Internet y tener una conexión segura para poder comenzar este año escolar. Sabemos que los efectos de esta pandemia han sido mucho más de lo que esperábamos para todos nosotros, pero es sumamente importante poder tener la conexión necesaria para poder tener un año escolar con mucho éxito. Escucharemos de los senadores, de representantes de nuestro estado y de nuestro distrito escolar y nuestro personal para aprender más de cómo podemos asegurarnos que todos estemos conectados a la red necesaria y cómo acceder a los recursos necesarios para poder continuar con la educación de nuestros estudiantes. Muchas gracias y espero tener una conversación que les apoye mucho. Gracias.
Buenas tardes. En estos momentos vamos a empezar a interpretar al español. Para escuchar esta presentación en español, pueden seleccionar la opción en español en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla en el mundo, que va a aparecer en unos momentos. Si por algún motivo no escucha al intérprete, por favor regrese al inglés y vuelva a intentar la opción en español. Si por algún motivo aún no funciona, por favor nos avisa por el Q&A, las preguntas y respuestas. Y desafortunadamente la opción de interpretación no es compatible con los Chromebooks. Le recomendamos que intente ingresar a la reunión utilizando un teléfono celular, un iPhone o un Android. Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you very much to our interpreters, and thank you, Trustee Garcia. The members of our panel tonight are especially concerned about the opening of school and, of course, the importance of connectivity during the pandemic. We want to make sure that all families are supplied with the technology and the devices so that students can participate in robust learning opportunities while school is going on, whether it is in a distance format or face-to-face. I'd like to introduce our panel tonight, and before I get started, I want to ask the audience to please submit your questions to the Q&A box at the bottom of the Zoom window. We will take as many of those questions as we can tonight, and of course we are primarily concerned about internet connectivity. So please put your questions in the Q&A box and we will direct those to the members of our panel. And if I could ask our panel members to please just wave as I introduce you so that our viewers will be able to see you. And you're probably going to need to say hello so that your window will come forward and people will know that it's you. Starting with Texas Senator Royce West. Could you greet us quickly, Senator West?
Hello, everyone.
Thank you very much. We also have a representative here tonight with Texas Representative Tony Rose's office. Please, let's greet Daniel Clayton. Could you greet us?
Hello, how's everyone doing tonight?
Thank you. We also have this evening our Chief Technology Officer, Jack Kalanick. Jack, could you unmute and greet us?
Yes, good evening, everybody.
Also here this evening to help share information is Sean Brinkman, Assistant Superintendent of Information Technology. Could you unmute and greet us, Sean?
Good evening, everyone.
I'm also pleased to introduce our Chief of Human Capital Management, Dr. Cynthia Wilson. Could you greet us, Dr. Wilson?
Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Also here with our with our Human Capital Management Department is Deputy Chief of Human Capital Management, Robert Abel.
Hello, everyone.
We have several instructional experts here tonight as well who will probably be speaking to the importance of connectivity with regard to the learning environment. Please greet us, Shannon Trejo. She is our Chief Academic Officer.
Muy buenas noches a todos. Welcome everyone. We're so glad to be here with you this evening.
Also, let's get a greeting from our Assistant Superintendent of School Leadership, Leslie Stevens.
Good evening, everyone.
And also with us this evening is Keisha Crowder Davis, Executive Director of Centralized Enrollment. Could you greet us as well, Keisha?
Good evening, everyone.
So audience, you see we have an esteemed panel here. They have lots of information that they are very excited to share with you as we get ready for the first day of school. Again, I would like to urge you to please put your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of the Zoom window so that as our panel prepares to answer questions, we will be able to access your questions. Trustee Garcia, would you like to start talking a little bit about internet connectivity for all, a little bit of background about this project?
Absolutely, happy to do so. And just to make sure, am I doing this in Spanish or English?
Since we have our interpreters and they're on board, if you would speak in English.
Perfect.
Oh, I'm sorry. Our interpreters will interpret everything that's being said in Spanish. So if you would speak to us in English.
Happy to do so. Internet for All, the coalition, is a project, an initiative that I'm extremely happy and excited about. It really came about the understanding that in order for our students to be successful in the middle of this global pandemic and in the long term, we're going to have to ensure that students have access to reliable Wi-Fi, reliable connection at home. This is near and dear to my heart because as a DISD student myself, not too long ago, internet connectivity was one of the things that both prohibited and inhibited the ability for me to continue with my education. A great inhibitor for me was the cost of connectivity at home and having the devices at home in my family. I was very fortunate that my school was able to provide me with technology, and my family was able to then make sure that we had access to internet at home. And unfortunately, that's not the case for many of our students. We know that this issue concentrates in 10 zip codes here in the city of Dallas. And despite the wealth and the size of our city, some of those zip codes include the very own here in my community here in District 4. And that's why it's important for me to talk about this issue and bring this issue forward. This initiative came about with 9 different school districts from our region, plus the Regional Chamber of Commerce and other organizations within our city that said, we need to bridge this connectivity gap. And together, collectively, through many meetings that a lot of people have participated in, this initiative came forth. And there are short-term solutions as well as long-term strategic plans that are currently going on in place to ensure that this issue of making sure that students are connected to the resources that they need, especially in this time, gets resolved. And here in Pleasant Grove, here in District 4, here in Southeast Dallas, South Dallas, I'm extremely excited to see every student have access to what they need, especially because we're starting out our first weeks in DISD entirely virtual.
Thank you so much for that. Speaking of connectivity, I don't know if Senator West is able to speak with us. I know he was experiencing a few technical difficulties early on, but hopefully you are able now to speak a little bit about this partnership.
Is it okay? Okay. First of all, thank you very much, Trustee Garcia, for allowing me to be part of this DISD. This is an issue not only in Dallas, but across the country and across the state. And so I was able to work very closely with Jack and other members of the coalition in order to put together a project that we call Get Connected. And so the reality is we have a program right now that those persons that will be a part of this particular town hall meeting will be able to call a number, that number, and get a paper in the pencil. The number is 972-925-6000. And on that call, we will be able to leave the child or the children's name, their student ID number, their school, and school district, and also school. And within the next week, we will make certain we get that information to the particular school so we can get you a laptop or make certain you get connected. In order to have this virtual education, we recognize you've got to be connected. And so we're doing everything in our power to get the word out about the ability to get connected and where you get the information from. So I'm looking forward to participating in this evening, and I look forward to being involved in answering questions that I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator West. We do have questions already coming in. Perhaps we could take one or two, and then we will go to Representative Tony Rose's representative for some remarks as well. The first question that we have is for one of our technology experts. Can you explain what the hotspots are and how they work?
Yes, hi. This is Jack Kalanick. I'll take a shot at that question. So a hotspot is it's a small portable internet device. It's about the size of your phone, maybe a little bit smaller. And the way it works, it actually uses the same signal as your cell phone, but it is also able to broadcast a Wi-Fi signal out in a relatively short radius for anybody that's using a computer, a Wi-Fi enabled device, or a tablet in close proximity to that hotspot. So the hotspot, it is a powered device. You need to charge it. It is portable, and it can be shared. And so there's a code that comes with each hotspot that anybody that in the household that has that code can type that code into their phone or their tablet or their computer and connect to the Wi-Fi on that mobile hotspot. If I could add maybe just one more thing about these hotspots, Luana, I think it's important to note that there is no cost for this service to the family. The school district is providing these mobile hotspots. They are paid for. The service plan is paid for. And for people that request them, we will ship them or mail them to your house or to the campus, whichever your preference. But when you receive it, you'll have service throughout the rest of the school year. You will not receive a bill for that hotspot service. The district is paying for those hotspots.
Great information. Thank you so much for sharing that. Before we go to the next speaker, I do want to remind everyone that throughout the weekend, if your family or student is in need of technology, devices, or assistance, please call the Internet for All call center at 972-925-6000. 972-925-6000. We have a call center with operators waiting for your call to give you more information about how to access devices. Was there something else, Jack, you wanted to put in?
No, sorry, I just forgot to mute.
Thank you. Before we go to the next question, I would like to ask Mr. Clayton, the representative for State Representative Tony Rose, if you would give us some opening remarks. And also we have a question here directed to you. It is asking, why is the state involved in this initiative? And is this something that we're doing across the state of Texas? Mr. Clayton, could you answer that for us?
Sure, first of all, thank you for having me here today. And unfortunately, Representative Rose fell under the weather and couldn't join us. So first of all, I just want to say that DISD is doing a tremendous job in bridging the digital divide gap. And we know that the digital divide is impacting students all across Dallas County. We also understand that right now it means the difference between students being able to learn and get their education and not being able to continue to move forward with their education. So those steps with providing hotspots, that it's an innovative program, it's a new program, and it just shows the leadership that is involved with DISD and the other entities involved. In terms of these types of programs across the state, I think that almost every ISD is experiencing the same issues. We understand that COVID-19 has shown a very bright spotlight on disparities across the board. And normally when you think about those disparities, we think about health disparities, but the digital divide is one of those great disparities that's now being shown. And those innovative actions with hotspots and other tools to get students internet connectivity and computers is a tremendous effort and is working. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Clayton. We do have another question here, and that is, can hotspots be controlled by parents? Are there parental controls with a hotspot? What do parents need to know about the safety of their children using hotspots?
Hello, Juana. That's a great question. Yes, there are parental controls on these mobile hotspots and the internet service. So the traffic, the internet content is very definitely filtered to exclude any content that would not be appropriate for children. So students will not, it's categorically blocked. It would not be, nobody using the hotspot would be able to access that type of content from this Wi-Fi connection. And I would add that the district has a second layer of protection on the devices. So there's actually a content filter on the device, the computer itself. So it's kind of a belt and suspenders approach where we have the parental controls on the Wi-Fi unit and the internet service, as well as on the computer itself in case you were connecting to a different internet source.
Thank you. It's good to know there are safety controls. I have a question here that's related to instruction. Leslie, perhaps you could take this one. When will students be able to get their computers since school starts September 8th? That may be a question for the tech folks too.
So our IT department has done a wonderful job over the course of the last couple of years. About 2 years ago, devices were deployed at middle school, and this previous school year, 1920, they were deployed to high schools. So in the spring of 20, when we went out during this pandemic, the students were issued those devices. Where we had not done a district-wide deployment was at the elementary level. And the last 3 weeks, our IT department has been deploying to our elementary schools, and parents have been coming in and picking up their device. Any student or family who did not go to the school and pick up their device, they left those devices on campus, and they are now calling those students to come pick up their device to start the school year. And I know they've been working feverishly to get all of those out. And our students kept their devices. So those students who are moving from 8th grade to 9th grade should have their device. The ones we're working on probably a little bit more are those incoming 6th graders, because not all 5th graders had devices issued to them. So at this point, please contact your school if you need a device.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm also being prompted to remind people to please call the Get Connected call center at 972-925-6000. You can call now The center will be open until 8:30 this evening. You can ask for whatever device support you need. We want to thank Senator West for his involvement in helping us to get this call center standing so that parents can call and get information. Perhaps I could ask Trustee Garcia, what are your constituents' primary concerns about internet connectivity?
So I will share that I've gotten nothing but great feedback from community members about their ability to show up to campus on their days, assigned days and timeframes, and the support that they've received. One of the things, however, is that this is a new concept for our families in the home to have internet, to know how to turn on the device, how to work the devices that they've brought home. So one of the things I hear often is, what do I need to do in case of technical issues? Will my student be penalized if we're late to class, per se? If, as I've had experience here in my own home with my own connection, sometimes it goes off and it doesn't work. So if we could hear from our DISD leadership, what would happen in an instance where a student is unable to connect, they need technical support? What's the quickest thing a parent or a student can do in that situation?
So I'll take that one just in terms of engagement. The way that the district is counting attendance for a student is if they're engaged online. So it could be that a student is on their device and they entered into their classroom and they're working on an assignment, they're submitting an assignment, they're answering questions, or they're even meeting with their teacher one-on-one. If any of that is occurring during the school day, then we're counting them as present for that school day, because that's the engagement portion of it. Our teachers are setting up schedules where there are portions of the day in which they do direct work with students or with a small group of students or with an individual student. In the case that, like, your internet goes out or your computer isn't working during that period of time, then when it comes back up or when you get reconnected, the students will be in their classroom and they can send the teachers a message to let them know what happened. We do that here at work. Sometimes people's internet will go out and then they'll just reconnect and come right on back in, or we'll send them a message via email saying, I don't have my internet connection right now.
Sean, do you want to jump in there and add a little bit on some of the lessons learned when it just comes to technical support and where to go if you do have trouble logging in on day one, or you're not able to get the Wi-Fi hotspot or working? Any comments like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing you'll want to do is contact your campus. So we will have somebody on campus who's been trained to address any username or password issues, as well as connectivity issues. And we'll be going through, and if we don't hear from your students, we should be reaching out to make sure that they're, through a phone call or via trying to reach out to the parent to make sure that there aren't any issues with connectivity. You can also call our help desk, 972-925-5630. We have that set up. There's multiple options there based on your particular issue that you can select from, and it'll get you to the appropriate support person as well.
Let me, Luana, let me ask this. Going around talking about the Get Connected project that we have, several questions have come up as it relates to parents that have multiple children, maybe 3 or 4 kids. Will all 3, let's just say 3 kids, will all 3 kids get a device and also a hotspot?
I can take that one, Jack. So Senator, the answer to your question is yes. Our approach has been that we're trying to provide every child with a device, different devices at different grade levels. I saw one of the questions was what type of device are the younger children going to get? They're getting an iPad. But if there's multiple children or siblings in the home, we're providing a hotspot per child. So if they make multiple requests, as long as we have a device in stock, we're sending one hotspot per child.
Just one follow-up question to that. As it relates to what you said a few minutes ago, Sean, about if they have problems with their device, being able to call a number. Are the kids going to be, I guess you could say, provided an orientation as it relates to if they have problems with their devices, what they need to do?
Yeah, yes, sir. So I'm going to also ask Shannon Trejo to jump in on this, because I think the first day of school, we have a plan that is what it is. I mean, we want to get kids connected. We want teachers to make contact with the kids. We want them to walk them through everything that they'll need to do as far as accessing their learning applications. So that is the plan for the first couple of days of school, to make sure we get all kids connected. We make sure we give all kids an orientation. We make sure that they understand how to access all the different learning applications that are available.
Thank you.
We have another question. This comes from a parent asking, will students be counted absent if the teacher can't see them? My child was marked absent 9 times when we started remotely in the spring. Can that please be fixed?
Yes, we have received guidance from the Texas Education Agency in terms of attendance, and we will go back to almost like pre-COVID days where attendance will be taken daily. That isn't what we did in the spring, but we will beginning September 8th. It is daily, and attendance is counted by engagement. So if the student has logged on, engaged in like an online program, been in a classroom or a session with a teacher, done any of the activities within their classroom setting virtually, that all counts for attendance for that day.
Great. I'm told that we have viewers on Facebook Live on the main page, and they are asking about how to listen in Spanish. So I wanted to ask Trustee Garcia if she would please come back and announce that we do have interpretation and that it is available at the bottom of the Zoom window. My Spanish is not good enough. While we're waiting for Trustee Garcia to come back. Yes, there you are, Trustee Garcia. Could you?
There we go. And there we go with the internet connectivity, eh? Could you repeat the question for me?
Yes, would you please remind the audience that this information is being shared in Spanish via interpretation, and that there's an interpretation button at the bottom of the Zoom window that listeners can access?
Absolutely. Esta junta también la estamos dando simultáneamente en español. Si pueden acceder a este canal de Zoom, al fondo de su pantalla pueden ver un símbolo que parece como un mundo. Ahí pueden escuchar la interpretación en español, pero también está esta junta disponible por Facebook Live en DISD en español y toda la información necesaria que estamos proveyendo en este momento. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. I also am being asked to remind our viewers that Dallas ISD's website is chock full of all types of important information about re-entry. Of course, school is scheduled to open on Tuesdays, the day after Labor Day. We have much information on our website, about how we're going to safely open schools in a distance mode. You may have heard that some students may be coming back a little bit early. You can get all that type of information. You can enroll your child. Also, Dallas ISD social media has lots of information. So we want to ask you to please go to www.dallasisd.org and go to our homepage. You will see a lot of information about the start of school in Dallas ISD. Let's talk a little bit about instruction using those devices. Maybe Shannon, you could share something with us. What can parents expect as far as the instructional piece and homework and things of that nature online?
Sure, absolutely. So we would want our parents to expect that instruction is going to feel very different this fall than what occurred during the spring. Students can expect to interact with their teachers online, receive instruction directly from their teachers through video conferencing or pre-recorded video tutorials, and they'll be able to access their activities and assignments through their learning management system, which is the online system where they can submit their assignments. We will have a full day of learning planned for our students, so they will be able to interact with every teacher for every course. And we are going to work our very hardest to keep a balance on the amount of time that students are expected to be online in front of the screen, and then offline and giving their eyes a rest and giving their bodies a rest, and participating in brain breaks, making sure we go to lunch, making sure we get some physical activity in there, and maintaining that healthy balance between screen time and off-screen time.
Thank you for speaking to screen time, because we do have a question asking how long are students expected to be in front of a screen during a normal school day?
So the guidelines from the state require students to be engaged in the learning for a given amount of time. And that time frame ranges depending on the age of the student, which is appropriate. So our younger learners are going to have less time that they are expected to be on screen or engaging in the learning on a daily basis, as opposed to our older students who are able to maintain that screen time a little bit longer. We are recommending that our engagement time for our earlier learners ranges for our youngest learners around 90 to 120 minutes a day. That time can be split out throughout the course of the day. It will be chunked up in short points in time so that teachers can interact with students. And again, that time will be balanced between interacting on the screen or with an activity on the screen, with off-screen activities where I might be participating in a lab or going outside to complete an activity and bringing that back in to participate on screen with my peers and my teacher in the classroom. For our older learners, you can expect anywhere from 200 to 240 minutes a day. That is about 20 to 30 minutes of a class period per day, or a third of a class period per day. The reason that we did that is to allow students to be able to gain enough face-to-face instruction or direct instruction from their teacher in their new content that they're learning, the new things that they're learning, so that they'd be able to come off screen and work on those activities independently. So our middle school and high school students can expect to interact with their teachers about a third of the classroom time every day for each period. And they will be able to have time to balance time on screen with their teachers or time off screen completing independent activities.
Thank you. We have another question having to do with passwords. I don't know about anybody else. They're the bane of my existence. Oh my. For one of our technical gurus, can you explain how the passwords are going to work for students? Is it going to be the same password for the computer, the hotspot, and the programs? Talk a little bit about passwords.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. And right now, they're a little bit of an Achilles heel for us too. We have been working to reset the student passwords over the summer. Last year, we didn't have a lot of students didn't have passwords that they needed to use to access the systems, or if they did have a password, that password had been used and didn't expire for a very long time. So we are trying to improve the security of our systems, and we are trying to get students in the habit of using passwords. That's the good news. But, you know, as we've been changing and resetting the student passwords leading into the start of school, it has been stressful, and it has been a bit of an issue because it's kind of late. You know, it's very close to the start of school, and some folks are still unable to log in. So the answer to your question is that the password schemes are different for the different grade levels. So for example, at our elementary schools, right, the password is based on the student ID number. Okay, and I think we have sent out some detailed instructions to parents via email, as well as through the school messenger, the telephone system, to let people know what that new password is for students. Okay, so that's how we're approaching for elementary and as well for middle school. So the password is based on the student ID number. For high schools, it's a different password scheme for high schools, and it's a common password, but it's a temporary password. And so and again, we've communicated this out to families that this is the temporary password. It's available for your student. Use it once, log in, go to our password reset tool, and reset your password. But I recognize that it is a relatively complicated instruction, and it's very close to start of school. So there are a lot of questions and some frustrations around that right now. So I would ask you to please bear with us as we go through and finish resetting these student passwords. I would suggest that, you know, later this weekend, beginning tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, go ahead and try logging on as a test run before Tuesday. Make sure everything works. If it doesn't work for you and you have a problem with your password, we have prepared the campuses to take the first line of support on that. So you can call your campus, you can let them know, hey, we're trying to log in and we're having a password problem. The campuses have the list of student names and passwords. They can reset it right there for you or help you log in. So your first call would be to the campus if you're having a login issue. And then if the campus can't help it, or if you're for whatever reason unable to reach your campus, you can go ahead and call that IT service desk or email the IT service desk, you know, from your phone or any other email account, and we will get back to you. We'll have a live agent contact you, reset that password, or help guide you through the process of logging in for the first time. Once you log in for the first time and you reset your password, everything is pretty smooth sailing from that point. But it has been a little bit challenging for some folks to get in, and that's not their fault. That's our fault for making it a little bit more complicated than it probably should have been. But I realize that's a long answer, Luana, to a simple question, but it's very important because I don't want passwords to be the things that, you know, prevent students from logging in Tuesday morning to get access to their teachers.
Thanks so much. We appreciate that information. We have another question about tech needs for students, for special needs students. What are we doing to provide those students with access to technology?
Luana, I can address that question for special education. Our special education department has been working closely with our special needs families and their students for those that require specific technology that is needed in the home in order for students to fully participate in their learning. And we are providing that technology for students to continue the learning process at home. We are also working with different service providers to provide specialized instruction in virtual environments so that our students can continue with all of their accommodations and IEP requirements. And we can make sure that our special population students are receiving the instruction that is prescribed for them through the ARD committee meeting. We are going to be working with our parents to create opportunities for one-on-one appointments for certain services that are challenging to do over a virtual setting, such as things related to visual impairment or deaf and hard of hearing. So more information will be communicated directly with our families. So our families of special needs students can expect a direct contact via phone call to discuss the options that are going to be available to them.
Thanks so much, Shannon. We appreciate that answer. I want to remind those who are viewing the panel discussion that you can submit your questions to the Q&A box at the bottom of the Zoom window, or we are also monitoring Facebook. You can submit your questions that way. And to remind you that if you are in need of technology, the Internet for All call center will be available this evening until 8:30 and throughout the weekend on Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please jot down this number, 972-925-6000. At that number, you can request hotspots and technology devices. And I'm not sure that we have covered the fact that this goes beyond Dallas ISD. I don't know, Senator West, if you want to take that question, could you talk about the other school districts that are also partners in this effort?
And I may not get all of them right, but yes, there are several school districts. First of all, let's make sure we understand the magnitude of the problem in Dallas County. There's over 75,000 students without connectivity. Not all Dallas is Dallas Independent School District, but I am glad to say that we've had over 6,500 persons call into the call center to get connected. We have the DeSoto Independent School District, the Richardson Independent School District, the Arlington Independent School District, the Cedar Hill Independent School District, the Lancaster Independent School District, Garland Independent School District, and I'm probably missing some, but you can see there's a whole host of school districts coming together in order to try to make certain that we provide the mechanisms for our students to be able to get a virtual education. And I'm proud of each and every one of them. There was a question asked about the state support. The state is doing its part, but needless to say, we can do a better job, and hopefully we will be able to do a better job to make certain that this digital divide that we talked about years ago, that has now really manifested itself in terms of the ability of students to be educated. People realize the seriousness of it now, and hopefully we'll put the money there in order to make certain school districts will be able to accommodate students.
Thanks so much, Senator West, for that information. We appreciate it. And this is an amazing partnership that school districts and educators across the state are working together to try to get our students equipped. I have another question about technology. This parent is asking, she says, I have called multiple times and filled out the request form for the hotspot. When will I be receiving my device and how will I get it?
So I can take that one. As Senator West mentioned, we've gotten a large volume of calls that we're processing right now. Our goal is to process all of those requests to the start of school. We've implemented a new strategy that we're still working out the kinks, and instead we're going to give parents the option to either pick it up at the school or we will mail you the device. Once we've processed the device and either delivered it to the school or dropped it in the mail, you should receive an email. Delivery on the mail is 1 to 2 business days. And like I said, we're going through all the requests, and our goal is to process all of them prior to the start of school.
LaWanna, can I add, let me make sure that I go down the list of schools because we're getting calls from all across the county. The schools again are the Arlington Independent School District, Cedar Hill Independent School District, Dallas, DeSoto, Grand Prairie, Garland, Lancaster, Richardson, Irving, Plano, and also Dallas College. So if we have college students that are attending the Dallas College, you have the ability to also call center and get connected.
Great, thanks. Another question. If a parent is working all day, will the activities and classes that are assigned during that day be available in the evening so that they can review it with their children?
Yes, the teachers are going to put their lessons in the classroom, the virtual classroom for the day, and in most cases for the week, and they'll split them out by day. Students have access to those 24/7. And so if in fact that you have a parent not at home half the day or all day or whatever the case may be for that family, a parent can work with the student and they can engage in those lessons, or if they need assistance, get assistance from their parents anytime. Attendance or engagement will count up until 11:59 at night.
Thanks very much. Another question having to do with instruction, I think. How will a student know what app they need to be working on and to submit their work into? How is that going to work?
Leslie, I can take that one. Thank you, Luana, for that question. As Ms. Stevens alluded to, each teacher will have a designated routine and schedule for the day. That schedule, along with assignments for students, which could include participation in an application or a software program, will be listed in their online classroom for that day. So a student might go into their online classroom and see listed on their schedule from 8 to 8:30, you are to work on reading A to Z for 30 minutes. And so they would be able to log on to the instructed software application and complete the assignment that is provided for them. Teachers will be available to support, again, if students have questions about getting into those applications or questions about the assignments that are going to be listed in their online classroom or their virtual classroom. But students will know what they should do each day because the teacher will have that listed in their online classroom routine or schedule for the day.
A follow-up question, Shannon, will a parent be able to speak directly with a teacher at some point in the day if they are puzzled about an assignment or they need to get clarification?
Absolutely. Ms. Porter, teachers will be available to parents. If there are questions or there are needs, teachers and parents will always maintain an open line of communication so that any question that parents may have, they can definitely contact the classroom teacher. In addition, we will also maintain our online support system for parents called Let's Talk, where parents can submit specific questions about instruction, or what is it, how do I show my child how to do this algebraic problem? And we will have staff on hand to help support parents who need to understand different instructional pieces that they have questions about.
We're getting another question about technical support. What will be available, for example, this weekend? Will we have technical support available? I know that you gave the help desk phone number, Sean, but what if a parent has questions and they're planning for Monday? What do they need to do?
So we will have staff monitoring the calls this weekend. I think Shannon just mentioned the Let's Talk tool. On at the same place you can ask instructional questions, there's a spot where you can ask questions about connectivity, devices, and just really in general any computer or IT questions that you may have. We'll be monitoring those requests that come in. You can fill out your information, put your contact information. Those get fed to our team. We'll go those comments and then reach back out to make sure we get your issue resolved.
I want to again repeat the phone number for the IT help desk. It's 972-925-5630. You can call the IT help desk, not only this weekend, but any day during the week to get support. For some of our viewers who may have jumped on this call late, could we still get a repeat of some of the key information, such as how to get a hotspot, Jack, and how to log in? Could you reiterate that?
Yes, ma'am. So if you're just joining us now, the most important phone number, if anyone needs an internet hotspot, you don't have one, please call us, 972-925-6000. We have agents taking calls right now. They will record some information from you. They'll ask you for your name, your phone number, your email, and most importantly, your student ID number, right? We need that to identify and locate you in our system so that we know where you live and be able to, as Sean said earlier, we can mail that hotspot to you, or we can deliver that hotspot to you at the campus and you can come pick it up there. It's, pretty much next business day. It does take us a couple of days to process the requests. So right now we're obviously working through a heavy volume, but we're getting to them as quickly as we can. We are working this weekend. So if you need a hotspot, please call us and let us know, and we'll get you that hotspot as quickly as we can. The other important pieces, so in case you missed it, we are resetting student passwords. That work continues through today and will actually be done by tomorrow. And so we encourage people to go ahead and begin logging in to the district systems, to your student device, to either your Chromebook or your laptop, right? Please try logging in on Sunday and on Monday and test that to make sure that it works. If it doesn't work for you, please contact us. There's several ways that you can contact us. Like Sean said, you can reach out on the Let's Talk application. 24/7, you can leave us a message and tell us what type of problem you're having. Again, give us that student ID number so we know who you are and we can get back to you. That's a great way to call us, or that's a great way to contact us. You can also call us at the IT service desk. That number is 925-5630. 5630 is the IT service desk. Our wait times are a little bit long right now, but if you stick with us, we will answer your call and fix your problem for you. If you can't wait online and the wait time's too long for you, you can opt out to leave us a voice message and we'll call you back. We've got people working all weekend long this weekend, calling people back, trying to resolve any outstanding technical issues, but we really do want to try to get those resolved so that on Monday morning, right, when you log into your device. The one thing I wanted to mention, Shannon, is that the software applications that a student needs on Tuesday morning, they're loaded on that computer, on that student computer, right? So as soon as you log into that device, you'll see the icons there for Zoom or for Clever or for PowerSchool. Those are some of the systems that we use for that online instruction. So all of that software, all those links are loaded up on that student device. That's where you go ahead after you log in and you access that software, open it up, and you'll start the communication with your teacher. Sean, did I miss anything? Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you covered all the different avenues to get in touch with us. I would just encourage that if you do call the help desk and there are a long wait time, please leave a message. We will get back to you. If you can't call the help desk, please use Let's Talk. We're monitoring that queue, and we will get back to you.
I'm being told that we are getting down to the wire in our remaining time. I wanted to go back to Trustee Garcia to see if she had any additional information that you want to share, and then we still do have a few more questions.
Absolutely, and actually I'll take these in Spanish. I'm just taking a look at some of the messages that I'm coming in having coming in from some of my community members. Lo primero y lo más importante es que quiero decirles muchas gracias por sintonizarse esta junta. Sé que la importancia de tener estas conversaciones en su lenguaje es sumamente importante para todos nosotros, especialmente al comienzo del año escolar virtual, llegando este próximo martes 8 de septiembre. Les agradezco mucho sus preguntas. Creo que lo más importante que hemos escuchado esta noche es que estamos trabajando muy duro para asegurarnos que cada persona que necesite conexión al Internet o el dispositivo en casa lo tenga. También estamos escuchando sobre sus preguntas y problemas que han tenido con las contraseñas y con el acceso. Eso lo estamos averiguando, pero por favor, de nuevo, sintonícense y llamen al número 972-925-6000 para poder recibir la tecnología que necesitan en casa. Estamos trabajando muy cerca con otros departamentos de nuestro distrito escolar aquí en Dallas, pero también este es un esfuerzo que se está haciendo mucho más grande que solamente en Dallas ISD. Están participando otros 8 distritos escolares de la región y la oficina del senador Royce West, que gracias en parte a su liderazgo estamos pudiendo lograr todo lo que estamos haciendo hoy día. Pero por favor, ténganos paciencia. Esto es un esfuerzo que estamos haciendo mutuamente y vamos a extender la máxima compasión y el entendimiento que podamos durante la dificultad que será poder conectarnos. Como han visto conmigo, yo he perdido la conexión unas cuantas veces durante esta junta y no esperamos que todo sea completamente perfecto, pero vamos a trabajar todos juntos para asegurar que podamos hacer lo mejor para todo estudiante. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Trustee Garcia. A couple of other things that we need to mention, again, that our Internet for All call center, the phone number 972-925-6000. Please write that number down, share it with family members and other parents that you know who are in need of internet devices. Also, there is a lot of information on the Dallas ISD website, including Let's Talk, which has been mentioned several times this evening. You can submit a question via Let's Talk to technology, instruction, teaching and learning, any of our departments online 24/7. Just go to www.dallasisd.org, and on the homepage, you will see flags to the right side of the slider. You can connect to Let's Talk, you can submit your question, and someone will get back in touch with you. I do have a question though about being hacked. Someone wants to know what protections are there against being hacked. So.
I'll take a stab at that one. So that is actually why we are resetting those student passwords. Is we're encouraging students to log in one time, change that password to a unique password that only they know, and at the same time they can set a recovery email so that if they forget, like we all do, and sometimes you just need to get up, reset your own password, they can do that without calling the next time. So that's the benefit there. So number one, we do want to teach students to begin thinking securely when they're online. I mentioned too earlier in the call that we have parental controls and internet access filters on all of our student devices, as well as those internet hotspots that we're providing free to families. So we're filtering the content, we're blocking anything that would be objectionable to students, and we do actually monitor that traffic as well, right? So if a student ends up searching for something like suicide or drugs or something online, right, we catch those keywords and we forward that information to the campus, to the high school principal, to the counselor, so that they can follow up and they can intervene appropriately with those kids. So those are some of the things that we're doing online to protect our students, but it's a great question and it's a valid concern that we're always concerned about, our student security online.
We are down to the wire now. Trustee Garcia, I would give you opportunity for the last word before we close. I do want to say that this recording will be placed on the re-entry page of Dallas ISD. So if you go to dallasisd.org/reentry, you will be able to access this recording if you want to revisit the information. And now to you, Trustee Garcia.
Thank you, Luana. I really appreciate your support throughout this panel. Muchas gracias a todos los que se sintonizaron durante esta presentación. Les agradezco mucho por su tiempo. Más que nada le agradezco al personal de DISD que pudo estar aquí con nosotros. Muchas gracias por su presencia con la comunidad hoy día. Es sumamente importante para todos estar activos en este proceso. Le quiero dar máximo agradecimiento a la oficina y el representante de Representative Tony Rose por estar aquí con nosotros. Daniel Clayton, thank you for being here. Al Senator Royce West, thank you, sir, for your leadership in this movement. Y de nuevo, quisiera extenderle unas pocas palabras al representante del Senator West. Si nos pudieras dar unas pocas palabras, Arnulfo.
Sí, claro. Bueno, como decía Carla García, que está en la mesa directiva de DISD, ¿no? O sea, parte del trabajo que estamos haciendo es, yo trabajo con la oficina del senador West. Pleasant Grove está en el distrito del senador West, entonces lo que quiero que sepan es que estamos aquí para ayudarles, ¿no? Estamos aquí para ver cómo les facilitamos todo el trabajo en la comunidad. Entonces, yo trabajo directamente con él, hablamos español, estamos aquí para servirles. Entonces, háblenos a la oficina, busquen el nombre Royce West por internet y háblenos. Cualquier cosa que ustedes tengan, sea de educación, sea de cualquier otra cosa, estamos para servirles. Entonces, nos unimos junto con varios representantes para poner esta junta para asegurar que ustedes tengan acceso, que sus hijos tengan la educación necesaria. Entonces, eso es lo que queríamos decir y una vez más, estamos aquí para servirles.
And just one more time, the number for the Internet for All call center, 972-925-6000. We hope that you will call in this weekend and give us an opportunity to assist you and equip your family with the most important devices, hotspots, and connectivity. Thank you again to all of our panelists so very much for giving us this time today. Thank you, Trustee Garcia, for your leadership on this. And I believe that is all the time that we have tonight. Thanks, everybody.